So last week, I started introducing myself, telling my story. And at the end of that video, the financial crisis of 2008, 2009 had just hit, and we were forced to close Group 1066, the business that I'd built with my two partners, Mike Kuka and Thomas Ordahl. Once again, the world was turned upside down. But with some good luck, it didn't hit me as hard as it could have. Microsoft had been my client at 1066 for 7 or 8 years at that point, and a job opened up as brand lead on Windows, and I got it. So I moved my family to Seattle and led the rebranding of Windows. I had spent most of my career as a consultant, and executing a major brand program from inside an enterprise is a different kind of challenge. It was amazing. After the rebrand was complete, my focus shifted to a range of cross-company projects on the Microsoft brand. It was a really exciting time to be at Microsoft. First, there was the move to the cloud, and at the same time, the move into mobile. But there was also this tremendous shift in the company. Microsoft was going from being famously a bunch of different business groups with competing priorities to being more of a unified company. And I got to see firsthand the way that brand really can be a tool for shifting a massive organization's idea of itself. I'm really proud of the work that we got to do there. One of the projects that I got to lead was a cross-company initiative to change the way that Microsoft addressed and marketed itself to small businesses. I'd run my own business for almost 10 years, and so I had a particular passion for that initiative. Big businesses don't understand small businesses. They're an extremely important market, but a very hard one for large enterprises to know how to approach. So I led this cross-company initiative to try to address that. And I knew that I wanted to let those small business owners tell their stories in their own voice. So I hit the road and I went out and I talked to loads of them. At the time, Microsoft still had the stores. And so I was able to show up in towns like Austin, Texas and Vienna, Virginia. And because we had the Microsoft stores in those towns, we also had relationships. We had relationships in the local communities with chambers of commerce and with individual business owners. And I spent weeks on the road sitting with those business owners and talking with them about their businesses, about their plans, about the struggles they were facing, and about the ways that technology was both supporting them to build their businesses, but also how it was frustrating them. And I had an idea. I had an idea that there must be a better way, that there must be a better way to support small businesses. And that it was crazy that nothing had changed in the world of small business between when I had started my first business in 2001 all the way through to 2013 and 14 when I was leading Project Main Street. That's what that initiative was called. The amazing thing, recording this today, is that still nothing has changed. But the idea for Indie.biz was born. I quit my job at Microsoft in 2015 to work on that. Indie.biz started with the idea that being independent shouldn't mean being alone. And I spent the next 3 years bootstrapping a startup to try and solve that massive problem. Looking back, it was bold. It was also pretty nuts. I never wanted to talk about small business, but really the focus was on helping anyone plan, launch, and run their own independent business. These independent businesses or micro businesses, they're all around us. They function as the foundation of our economy, but they're also sort of invisible. The key thing that we tried to address with the platform was the massive heterogeneity, the diversity of business types. And we did that with data. It was a clever solution. We utilized the vast amounts of government data that are available, but also mostly inaccessible to people. I'll do another video at some point about Indie.biz and all of the things that I learned doing that. Mostly the hard-won lessons learned through the mistakes that I made. But I also learned so much about entrepreneurship and the way that entrepreneurship actually works. And maybe some of the myths of entrepreneurship, how people think entrepreneurship works. Indie.biz was a self-funded effort, and eventually we ran out of gas. But I never actually closed Indie.biz, and at the right time, I hope to reanimate it. And here we are, back at the beginning. with me running the gin department with my friends and collaborators, Lisa Light and Glasgow Phillips. And while brand strategy is my profession, entrepreneurship continues to be my passion. 5 years ago, I was offered the opportunity to teach a course on entrepreneurial marketing at the Foster School of Business at the University of Washington here in Seattle. Going back to school has been one of the great learning experiences of my life. It directly influenced my desire to write this book, and it gave me the confidence that I could. As I've said before, it's important to emphasize that I set out originally to write a book for practitioners, a kind of how-to guide for entrepreneurs and marketers and innovators. But ultimately, what I've come to realize is that we all need to develop this mindset. We need to move away from our deep training as passive consumers and instead to become active creators of the world that we want. I believe the first step is building an understanding of brands as drivers, not only of our economies, but of culture and society and governance and everything else. If you made it this far, thank you for sticking with me and listening to my story. I'll see you next time.